Hey, what's going on, Aaron's BBerry Picayune viewers? I am here, parked, just getting back from Chipotle, about to drive way back out to Edgemere, Maryland, just getting out of church. And I was in the Chipotle, and I saw this one older man who, you know, maybe he wasn't wearing the most expensive clothes and maybe they were a little dirty, but he was still in line at Chipotle, and he asked this other guy who was with his friends or whatever, and they were all dressed in their fancy suits because they had just come back from church, and he had a Bible with him. And this so bothered me because the guy who was dressed in the slightly tattered clothes asked the guy who was with his friends and had the Bible. He said, "Hey, is that a Bible? Is that a Bible?" And the guy was so disgusting. He did his best to ignore this man. I'm like, how is that Christianity? And then finally, he responded to the guy, and he didn't even make eye contact. He was like, "Yeah, that's my Bible." You know, and just went on about his business like, I'm just trying to ignore these paupers who are around me in my circle. I'm trying to get my Christianity on. I don't have time for poor people like him. And the guy asked him again, he's like, "Oh, so is that the King James Version of the Bible?" And the man totally ignored him. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you call yourself somebody who goes to church and you do that? And you're just getting out of church, clearly, and you're already acting like you're too good for people. I don't even know any of these people, but I was disgusted by what I saw. How do you do that to somebody? Oh my God, like you just get out of church and it's just, I don't have time for these poor people. Please, I wish they would just get out of my life. I'd like to just enjoy my Chipotle with my friends who are all well-dressed and come from money. How do you do that? How do you do that? That was disgusting. And if anybody out there ever does that to somebody, don't do it. Check yourself. Okay, I'm using hood slang. You better check yourself, yo. No, but seriously though, I was thoroughly disgusted, and I wanted to say something to the guy who was with the tattered clothes or whatever, and ask him what he was really needing, but I didn't want to get in the middle of it. And I know sometimes, you know, there are crimes of commission and there are crimes of omission, and maybe that was a crime of omission, and you know, I pray to the Lord for forgiveness if I didn't do something I was supposed to do. But I just wanted to make that video about it. How do you do that? How do you just get out of church in your fancy suit and tie with all of your friends in their fancy suits and formal dresses and your Bible, and then when this man asks you something, wants to talk to you, you can't even show the most basic form of Christianity, which is friendliness. And I am a Christian, and I understand. And honestly, it's an excuse. Don't use this as your excuse to not go to church. You know, granted, there are hypocrites, but there are hypocrites in everything. I mean, there are hypocrites who work at 7-Eleven. You don't stop going there. There are hypocrites who work at Burger King, smiling in your face, spitting your food. That doesn't stop you from going to Burger King. So don't use the fact that there are hypocrites in the church as your excuse for not going to the church. Okay? But I do understand that that is something that people see who don't go to church, and it is a turnoff. Don't let anybody else block your relationship with the Lord. Still, we as Christians, we need to do better than that. Please. Anyway, I guess that was a bit of a rant for me. But before I start droning on and then getting into the you-knows and you know, I think I'll cut the video. But I did just want to make that point. As Christians, we've got to do better. I hope this video turns out well because it looks like I keep getting the shot down. Anyway. Peace, Aaron's BBerry Picayune viewers. Be blessed.